Last week, we had some exciting news from Eric Migikovsky regarding the upcoming Pebble devices, including a name recovery, some engineering samples, and some new potential colorways as well. In this video, I'll give you a quick recap of all these updates. Now, probably the second biggest piece of news here is that they are no longer going to be calling these core devices. They did get the IP for the Pebble name again, and going forward, these will be the Pebble 2 Duo and the Pebble Time 2, no longer to be associated with the Intel Core 2 Duo. Probably the biggest change here is that Eric mentioned he had coffee with this guy, Mark Solomon, who was the head designer at Pebble back in the day. And in 2016, they had actually come up with some concept renders for what a future Pebble could look like. Mark was able to dig those up and find some pieces of the old designs they had implemented. And that is what this new engineering sample we're going to talk about is heavily based on in terms of the overall look and feel. Now, really getting into the engineering sample here, Eric did mention that they do have two working prototypes. And so what you can see here on screen is one of them. Just like the Time round steel here or the Time steel here, it will be using 316 stainless steel, which is good. It has a specifically premium feel from these two devices that I've owned, or the Pebble steel here. Eric has even stated that he always thought the Pebble Time steel had very big bezels, which it really does. And you can see in this image here that the new one has significantly reduced the bezel size. And the weight he showed is about 48 grams with the band and 32.5 with the straps removed. But one positive thing is it will have these quick release straps that are 22 millimeters, just like here on this round here you can see, which should work well, but it also opens the options for your bands for a lot of third-party manufacturers because it is a standard design in the watch world and it's not a proprietary thing. I'm personally happy that they moved away from the H pattern of the original Pebble or the Pebble 2. This just looks much more modern and a little sleeker, and even stated that the lug to lug length is shorter, so it just fits on the wrist a little bit better and is a smaller and more compact design. I'll admit, in my previous video when I talked about the Core 2 Duo, the design did look a little bit dated for me, so this actually makes me a lot more interested. Anyways, the reduction in the bezel size and the overall sleeker watch case is definitely something that is appealing, and this looks like a very modern watch. Mind you, this also has a 30-day battery, which is pretty unheard of in the watch world. Maybe some Garmin's and things like that can reach that, but pretty revolutionary in the smartwatch world, I think. And then what's also cool is the colorways that they'll have. So there is a general black one and the silver one he's showing on camera here, but there's also a blue one and a red one, which look like they could be very interesting. They're playing around with the colors still. It will likely be silver, black, and then two other colors, but I think blue and red are in the running right now for those, but that is all subject to change, obviously. So one other thing he mentioned is that these have curved glass. Hopefully you can see there is a slight curve on this. The new watches have a flat plane, and what that does is it is able to remove some of the double reflections that you would originally get on these, or they come in later. Whereas like now I'm getting a reflection of my window and one of the lights over here, and apparently that is better on the new device. One feature I thought was cool was these original Pebbles, they just had kind of a blue light in the back, but they are adding RGB so you can control color temperature, something like this, where you can make it, warmer, so you can control the intensity, but also the Kelvin temperature scale on it. So that's something they're playing around with. I think someone had mentioned to him that they should do that, and that is something they're adding, I believe. Nighttime modes will be better for that. And then they also did add a compass. These are EVT samples, but the Sifley chip company that he's been working with has been able to port a lot of the SDKs into the new hardware for the specific core devices or now Pebble devices. Having the software and hardware blend is a positive sign already. There's a few bugs he mentioned, but they're working those out. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see some more updates from him on his TikTok podcast or kind of YouTube channel that he shows stuff. So actually, you could check his video out here if you want, or if you want to see my previous video on the core devices, check that out here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.